what happened. How that, people got up, black people got up and said we need more black teachers and da-da-da, and programs for people, who need help in the community. And the student said no one would ever say that here, even though they might think it, because you're just not supposed to say that.
In Staten Island?
In Staten Island.
Really? They wouldn't say that?
No. They would not say that.
Really?
And what it shows is that there is a level. I mean, and then so another, one of my colleagues we were talking about something. But it sort of shows that, based on the socioeconomic class you're in, it shows that you have a certain level, a higher level, I should say, of political advocacy than people who are without. Yeah, it's hot in here. I guess because I'm, so heavy and everything. But at any rate... and I found that to be a good point. At first, it seemed kind of scripted, which it was, because Memily, the acting superintendent or assistant superintendent, pretty much read a script. People pretty much answered the questions that were already existing, the questions. It was sort of like a debate where the questions, you already know what the questions are, and someone had an answer. I think the first speaker who got up had something to say. I was wondering if the question that Joanna Wright had asked, which was, what would possess somebody, this is not a direct question, to bring a gun to school, what conditions could get to that? Once she said that, for the most part, the majority of people speaking were reacting to that question. How could it get so far where for a student to bring a gun to school? And at first it seemed like, just a rhetorical question. On the other hand, now, it did spark controversy and discussion.
But you know something? Here's my question. I want to ask this question. And a lot of people... this question wasn't addressed, and it was partially addressed by the police chief. That parent is an irresponsible parent.
Well, it's just he revealed that the boy's parents have been charged with failure to secure the weapon.
But I'm saying that there was really no sort of discussion regarding the responsibility of the parent. So one person said this. It appears to me that the kid is accustomed to maybe playing with that gun. There's a great possibility that they may go to a shooting range and the kid is allowed to use the gun at the shooting range. I'm guessing, I'm guessing. So the kid felt confident enough in order to pick that gun up and put it in his bag and bring it to school. Okay, now, I don't think, we don't know, but I don't think the kid brought the gun because he had some intentions. All right, there's a possibility. But I just thought the kid wanted to bring it to show that, he was...
Well, I don't know how safe that is for us to assume what was the motive behind or why the kid did that. I don't know if that's something that we'll ever know, not unless we knew the families or friends of that family, or friends of that child, that student in particular, as to why he did that.
But I think that parent was very irresponsible.
Of course.
Very irresponsible. And we have to hold these parents accountable for them not being more of adults. In order for you to leave the gun out or leave the place wherever the gun was stored open, that the person can go in there and get the gun and bring the gun to school. And the sad thing is that, when you look at this, is that by this being news, it's news across the country. It has an effect on the community now. It has an effect on a lot of things when people look at the community. They're going to say, oh yeah, that's the community where the kid brought the gun to school. Or, you could talk about like Columbine. As an example, you could talk about what happened in Connecticut. You can say that, this is the place that had happened. And this is 2 incidents in the space of 2 weeks. But I think...
In the space of 1 week.
In the space of 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And I think because it's in the space of 1 week, that makes it so exceptionally newsworthy. Because it happened, one thing happened one day and something else happened the next day.
But
as was stated many times at that meeting by the administrators, is that we should be thankful that another kid said, "Listen, You know, so-and-so has a gun. Rather than, I mean, because, you know, if you look at it, you don't know how many times somebody's brought a gun in and no one knows, you know? We don't know that.
Now, just a little, for those who may not have known about it. And you know, the other thing is this, is that, by the way, there were quite a few people listening to the, and I learned something. I tend to digress quite a bit. There were a lot of people listening to the forum on Somo. All right, and I actually wanted to get up and say something regarding when we have these type of events that many people can attend, and by Somo being there and broadcasting it live, a lot of people can actually be in the auditorium but not being there physically.
Well, you know, what I noticed is that the microphone should have probably been up next to a speaker rather than... Because I don't know if you listened to the audio when I got in the car and listened to the audio. Luckily, I got to my car right before it started pouring rain. And I'm listening. Like, you couldn't hear a lot of the participants in the audience that clearly, so they weren't that audible. All the people on the stage or DS or whatever, they were quite clear, but some of the questions weren't clear, and I understood some of the questions because I had heard them from, you know, in being in the audience or out in the hallway.
So that's a good point. I think what I have to get is an extension.
Because I saw a lot, you know, with the news people.
Yeah, you put it up to the speaker and you can get it, you know, so I have to get two extensions.
Or maybe there was just one big extension and everybody just put their stuff on.
That's what it is. That's what it is. But then again, when that person leaves, it goes with them.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's a great point. But also another point that I kind of got out of that too is that I have to plug in a battery to my phone when we are doing those live broadcasts.
Why did it die out?
Yeah, because what happens is that it seemed to drink a lot of the battery. Because the battery was full. And at like an hour and 80 minutes, on hour and 80 minutes.
So that's 2 hours and 20 minutes.
2 hours and 20 minutes. 2 hours and 20 minutes. It just went dead. Because, you know, you couldn't hear the rest of it.
Oh, wow.
You know?
So you have to figure out some
but
get the technology.
But I also sent Joanna an email indicating to her that I hear they talking about communication. The Board of Ed needs to decide. Maybe they can have a program, you know, talk with the Board of Education once a week on Somo. So whereas that people can interact with the Board of Education, not just on their once a month monthly meeting. And they can talk about things that, you know, that give the public information. You know, the same thing we can do with the...
Well, you know, I mean, it's not like these things... I remember at one point, a couple of years ago, they tried to do this, go from school to school, so every week a board meeting would be held in a different location. You know, one week...
But this is different, though, in that
I know,
you don't have to leave your house. They don't have to leave your house.
Speaking, yeah.
Yeah, I'm speaking... You don't have to leave your house in order to listen. Or you don't have to leave your house in order to... If you have a question... You can either email the question, you can either text the question, or you can call in with your question. Or you can interact on Facebook if you have, you know, you could go on Facebook and ask your question. If you're coming home on the train, you can listen to it. And if you have a question, you can call in right there on the train. So I think that's a mode of communication that the Board of Ed, you know, it will be. I sent Joanna an email, a text, the same night, because they was talking about communication. And I also spoke to the organization called the South Orange Maplewood Parents for Education.
Yeah, I saw that.
I also spoke to Melissa,
yeah.
Right? Melissa. And to tell them, listen, you guys need to think about having a once a week program as well, you know, on Somo.
Well, first, you know, I mean, for whatever it's worth, well, we'll talk about that. You know,
we can get the parents of African descent as well, you know, to have a program as well. So what it is that, you see, the thing about it is that a lot of people can't come to these forums, right? A lot of people have opinions or have things, and the outlet is Maplewood Online. I mean, we also have a forum on Somo. Just as how Maplewood Online has a forum, we have a forum on Somo as well. But Maplewood Online is more known, you know, for...
Well, I mean, again, it's all about community building and exactly what community you're interested in building.
But I'm interested in I mean, on Maple Online, you can really control the rumors on Maple Online, but you could sort of control the discussion, and Soma, we can control discussion. I can't control the discussion in a forum, unless you have someone looking at everything that's posted, and you can basically tell some people that, I'm not going to put that up. It's like on Facebook, if you put something up, they have a lot of admins, and they look at your post. If they think your post is not in line with that page, they wouldn't put your post up, or they will delete it. That could also happen. So I think we're on the track, to some good things, and I want to compliment the Board of Education, for being proactive and calling this forum sooner rather than later. Mm-hmm. I think this is the first time really that we had an incident in South Orange Mayport where they called a forum like that, where you had about 8 people in the DS, dealing with the issue at hand. And I think that's a step in the right direction. I mean, there was the article in the Village News that says Mayport Middle School students obtained gun from home. A Mayport Middle School 7th grader who was taken into custody on June 3rd after a code red lockdown at the school obtained a handgun he brought to school at home. Mayport Mayor Vic DeLuca revealed that piece of information at a town hall on school safety on Monday night at the Mayport Middle School. Mayport Police Chief Robert Cimino revealed that the boy's parents had been charged with failure to secure the weapon. The weapon had been legally obtained by the parent. Officials confirmed that the student will never return to school district. However, a Columbia High School student who brought an airsoft gun, not considered by law as a firearm, and a kitchen-style knife to school on Thursday, could be reinstated after 1 year. Regarding the MMS student, Cimino said the police were impeded in their investigation and that they could not compel a child to talk without the consent of a parent. Regarding the high CHS incident, Cimino noted that while an airsoft gun is not a firearm, it is grossly inappropriate to bring one to school and to create a dangerous situation because people think it's real. So,
yeah, but thanks for recapping what the whole incident was about. There are 2 things that really, a couple of comments that really stood out, and it's interesting that the writer here and the Village Green also picked up on those things. He said some parents complain that their kids have been suspended themselves as being victims of bullies. The first speaker, a graduate of MMS and Columbia High School, spoke about the loss of programs that engaged at-risk students and paired them with teachers or mentors. And a current senior at Columbia questioned how the staff at the school could connect with the majority of African American students when the staff doesn't reflect the student body.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That was very interesting. And there was a parent who suggested metal detectors, and everyone was like, people were like, no.
This is what I don't understand. And we're going to go for a time check in another 3 minutes. That's what I don't understand. What's wrong with a metal detector?
Because that is setting up an it sets up an antagonistic attitude.
How so?
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, attitude isn't the right word. It sets up an antagonistic environment in a school. So? In addition to that, it also delays things. It delays the start of school. It delays the functioning of the school. And it sets up an atmosphere where everyone is a suspect. And I've been in places that had metal detectors. I have had to endure times when, you'll get a call or a text from your supervisor saying, we're having the metal detector thing or a search or whatever, a security thing today. It takes the students an additional 20 minutes off of the schedule for kids who are coming in. Depends on what the band device is. Once upon a time, it was you're not supposed to bring phones, and then so you got this whole altercation with kids. Why can't I have my phone? Why can't I have this? Why can't I have that? It's just a bad environment. The only place that I worked in where they searched everything the metal detectors and all the rest of that was at a juvenile detention facility. It's just